Hi everyone, welcome to your latest Planning Outlook updated on Tuesday evening the 14th of July. Now over the days ahead, quite a good example of how a westerly wind can bring quite differing weather patterns as we go from a rather damp, cloud-laden westerly airstream through the middle of this week with lots of drizzle and dampness to a more sunshine and showers mix as we head onwards into the weekend. It still looks like a mixed pattern as we go further onwards, but just a suggestion of higher pressure nosing its way in for a time. Let's just set the scene with a look at the bigger picture, and I'll flesh out some details in a moment. And starting off with early Wednesday, we have high pressure which is situated to the southwest of Britain. We've got lower pressure away to the north, but at this point in time we're drawing in an air mass that has originated more over the mid-Atlantic and being drawn around the high toward the British Isles within essentially a broad warm sector which exists over the North Atlantic, which has got quite warm, well, say warm, relatively warm and humid air mixed in amongst it. Temperatures still nothing too special, it must be said, over the days ahead, but we'll just tend to feel a little bit more humid, and with any sheltering effects to the eastern side of the hills of Scotland and northern England, locally a few spots getting into the low 20s, which is better than we've done in some recent times in the valleys. This general damp westerly will be around through the remainder of the week, and eventually a frontal system which lies to the northwest, which is a cold front at this time, will drift further in as we head onwards into Friday, driven by the low which is up towards Iceland, and that cold front will produce some heavier falls of rain into the West Highlands in particular as we go onwards through Friday. Now that front is likely to weaken and drift southwards as we head onwards later Friday into early Saturday. Some uncertainty just whether it peps up again as it goes south into England and Wales on Saturday daytime. What follows, though, is an air mass that will have come around more off the North Atlantic from the south of Greenland, and that essentially is a cooler air mass with lower humidity, greater instability in the atmosphere, which brings a greater likelihood of showers, but also some higher cloud bases and some sunnier spells in between. Now that low stays to the north for a generally showery westerly stream as we go through this weekend, before higher pressure lying further to the west and southwest just shows signs of building a bit further as we go into the early days of next week. Maybe still though with a general westerly flow mixed in amongst it, so we might not quite, all of us across the British Isles, get into a genuinely settled spell, the risk of still some fronts coming into Scotland. A bit of uncertainty just how far north that high manages to finally build. Let's have a closer look day by day then, and here's Wednesday. There's the warm front and the warm sector we're talking about coming in from the Atlantic. We've got areas of drizzly rain passing eastwards, most likely in the morning across Scotland, northern parts of England, and in its wake then just leaving an absolute clag of low cloud around the coasts in the west from the lowest hill slopes upwards, and drizzle and dampness that will just be around most of the day. Eastern areas seeing a bit of a lift of cloud bases, and there may be a few breaks to some higher slopes, but most hills and mountains covered in cloud through the day, always at its lowest around the western coasts. The wind from the west will be moderate across the high tops, a bit blustery at times, and increasing as the day goes on. Now Thursday sees a very similar weather picture, still a damp southwesterly airstream in charge, and drizzle and dampness will once again come into the western side of Scotland with very low clouds still in existence. Patchy drizzle just around some of these western coasts of England and Wales, with again a lot of low cloud in the forecast, a bit more of a chance for a few breaks to form eastwards across the lakes into the Pennines. Areas, though, to the western side of the Yorkshire Dales, for example, might just still be stuck with low cloud off the Irish Sea. Best of any higher cloud breaks once again always towards more eastern regions through Thursday. Here's Friday, and it's that long trailing front that is in charge, and across the western side of Scotland it's likely that rain is a bit heavier and quite persistent through the day. It may well drift a bit further southwards away from the northwest Highlands, but here still some rain at least for a time, just depending how soon that front is drifting south. And it may well drift into Dumfries and Galloway too. Further south, again, it's a story of some low cloud and bits of drizzle around Irish sea coast. Still rather a poor, murky day in these areas. The air mass hasn't changed a great deal, so not much to move things on. And best of any higher cloud breaks a bit further eastwards across the Pennines, the Peak District and East Wales, where the temperatures will be at their highest. Tricky detail still for Saturday, and it all hinges just how the front behaves as it continues its journey southwards and whether it just peps up again in this little wave feature running in to the southwest of England and Wales. A few areas of showery rain basically on that front as it drifts southwards across the Peak and Pennines through the day, and following that is that change of air mass to a cooler westerly flow with sunshine and some showers, and some of those showers on the heavy side tracking eastwards through the day across the Highlands. Wouldn't rule out an isolated rumble of thunder if some of those heavier showers do just form as the day goes on. Again, that cool westerly flow stays around into Sunday, and those highest tops in Scotland really only a few degrees above freezing. Add on a brisk westerly and it will feel distinctly chilly. Again, a story of showers, those passing from west to east through the day across Scotland, a bit more scattered across northern England. Risk of maybe something a bit more organised if this frontal feature to the northwest just drifts into the northwest Highlands. Driest conditions and sunniest conditions across Wales and southern parts of the Pennines. In terms of the longer range outlook, well, this chart shows the average pressure pattern as we go through the whole week up until the 27th of July, with the oranger colours indicating higher than average pressures, and essentially that builds most of the way across the British Isles. I'm wondering whether this is a little bit optimistic though, and we still do hang on to that general west by perhaps southwesterly drift across the northernmost regions, so west, northwest Scotland may still just be plagued by a few weather systems drifting through. But for many places, at least a few dry days and some warmer, sunnier days may be in the mix compared to what we're seeing just at the moment. How long-lived any fairer weather lasts is open to question. Some indications by the back end of that week bring Atlantic weather patterns back in. So we'll keep an eye on things, and you can stay up to date with all your details for your local area in our forecast updated daily on the website. Thanks for watching. Bye for now.